Come in. Actually, if you sit that side, then I'll get your answer. It's going to be. What are we doing?
Somebody sitting here?
Nope. Okay. Sorry, I have books all over the place. So, welcome back. This is the last class before Pesach. So, let's get rid of all that chametzik Midrash. And so we have a new chapter. We're beginning chapter 10, Midrash 1, Kuf Lamed Vav in our little books. Beginning a new chapter. What should we see? Cool. Welcome. Hi, Brian. Jason, do you want to start us off?
Vayechulu hashamayim v'haaretz v'chol tzava'am.
Well recognized verse.
Yep. Ketiv. Lechol techila ra'iti kates rechava mitzvatecha me'od. So keep going? Or
No.
so.
I got this. Hold on to that. You need two pieces of paper. Sorry, it should have been printed double-sided, but we tried, we failed, again, we failed better.
Are we on the front page?
We are on the front page. We are on literally the first
even
line.
I can find that.
You missed the first half a line, Brian.
Oh.
You'll catch up. Right, so this is a petechta on the lectionary verse. Vayechul hashamayim v'haaretz. Yeah.
Completed the heavens and the earth and all that was, and all the host that was in them.
Actually, let me just say where just at the very top in the corner there, the tikkun. Just put your hand somewhere, Lester. Yeah, ever so slightly down. There, tikkun. Yeah. Thank you very much. So, one of the ideas, and this is in Isaac Heinemann's Darkei Midrash, is that the petechta was the Devar Torah which was given before the sermon reading, right? So that you would open up with the petechta from this verse from afar, and it would make its magical way down to what was referred to as the lectionary verse, i.e. the verse that would be read, at which point the Balkore would sort of read on, that it was that was the Sitzenleben, that was the thing that happened, that was the oral origin of petechta od.
So in the middle of the Kriya.
Well, that's the point. Right. So that's what he said happened originally, and that there would have been those at the beginning of the weekly Torah portion. This is Yerushalmi. This is Israel, land of Israel, Midrash.
Could be any time of year, yeah.
Right. So for a start, it took 3 years to get through the entire Torah. So there would be 3 times as many Shabbatot that would be where you would need a petechta, added to which the breaks between the aliyot were a floating thing, so that you could expect them popping up in various different places. But this particular petechta is a good example of a petechta which could not possibly have been an introduction even to an aliyah, right? Why? Because Vayechul hashamayim v'haaretz, which the Christian monk, who was the person who went through the Torah and gave the chapters and verses to the Torah, gave as the beginning of chapter 2. Sorry, I'm just realising I should have prepped this, because the point that I'm about to dramatically make, I'm not able to make.
You're not going to make the point you want to make.
It's not going to make. Well, you know what? I'm still going to make the point. What I was about to say is that Vayechol hashamayim v'haaretz could not be the beginning of a new aliyah, because, in my mind, it wasn't a paragraph as the rabbis understood it, and I was wrong. So I should have checked it before I made it, but I still think the point's worth making.
Good theory, though.
It's a great theory. So the laws on when you are able to make an aliyah break is that you can make the aliyah break at a parsha petucha, at an open, as if someone had pressed enter at the end of the previous verse, or at a parsha stuma, as if someone had pressed tab in the middle of a verse, or a minimum of 3 verses away from a parsha petucha or a parsha stuma, And I was going to make the point that Vayachulu followed on from the previous one. It doesn't. I mean, it's the end of the creation narrative. I think the Jews are entirely right, not the beginning of the next narrative.
When did these rules? When did they come in?
Well, that business of 3 verses, that is Mishnaic, right? That's in the Mishnah in Megillah.
But the Christian division of chapters
It's
is much later.
10th, 11th century, a monk from St Albans. So although we have, with a couple of weird exceptions, every now and again you find yourself in Psalms with a Jewish verse citation which doesn't match the Christian citation. It's out by 1. There's a number of reasons why that happens in a number of different places. It's never a major problem, and it doesn't apply to within the Torah, within the Chumash. It's very, very useful and everybody uses it. But the rabbis and the place where you see this most often is in Rashi. Right, Rashi says, in Parsha Zachor, for example, right, now by which he means Exodus sort of 21 verse 7 or something, right, or something like that, Zachor et Ma'asalacha Amalek. But he'll refer to things as the rabbis understand it with the name of a Parsha, not to be confused with what you and I would call a Parsha, right? I mean, the Parsha of the 51 Parsha of the week. He'll refer to them with a different kind of a name as a Parsha X, Parsha Y. But Rashi did not know, if you'd have said, Genesis 2 verse 1, he wouldn't have said Vayachol Hashemai Ba'aretz, right? Which is not a failure in Rashi to not know the entire Chumash off by heart.
Yeah, I just wanted to confirm what you said, because our Bible or Torah is written in ancient Hebrew, Israeli Hebrew. When you compare that to what the Christian translated, you see the
Very
difference.
different. Good. Well, there's another whole issue about the way in which the books are ordered, but yeah. All right.
Was there any difference between the Jews of Yerushalayim and the Jews of Babylon?
Well, the huge difference is what was being
stopped.
Yes, in what was being read in any given week. My favourite place that shows this, I think I've even mentioned this around the table, Rav Dimi spent his life between the two places, and he was continually moving backwards and forwards between Israel and Bavel, and it said, when Rav Dimi came back from Israel and got up to give the Petichta, he finished his Petichta and everybody went, that's not where we're at. We're at somewhere completely different. Which is not that he didn't know the Torah, but that he'd been in Jerusalem where the cycle was in a different place. So when he came back, he wasn't kind of au fait. The whole standardization of the Aliyah breaks is, I can't date it precisely, although I know where I would look to find out, but it's late.
Post-Talmudic.
Post-Talmudic. And there are a number of Talmudic breaks which are entirely set by the Talmudic period, particularly around these special maftir aliyot that we've been reading recently, but the vast majority are much, much later.
But the other thing is that in the triennial cycle, many PhD theses have been written on what the divisions in how many were there? Were there 150? Were there 167? And exactly where they were, and of course nobody knows. But people come up with lots of theories.
Yeah. All right.
A word like Hebrew, the first time I saw it, I was wondering, I said, where is this word coming from? And ancient Israelis, so Israelis being called Hebrew speaking people. The word in our Bible is Ewe, because God, when he spoke to Abraham, said, come out of your father's house. So he's not in the father's house. It means home.
So I think it's going to have moved in the other direction. Let's just keep an eye on how many stories we get from ancient Hebrew and from Ghana. Let's just try and focus on what we have today. Right. So the verse from afar. Hi, welcome. You need one of these. Lovely to see you. We need one of these. And do you have texts?
No.
There's a Brian just under no. Sorry. Yes. Not that. She got one of those already. But that. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Welcome. We have just cited our verse from afar from Tehillim 119. So, Jason, you've got that on the thing, but on the little handout there. But,
I have one.
Yeah, the verse is at the top on the page there.
Okay. Right. So the translation of that. That's good because that's the one I didn't know. So it's from Tehillim. L'chol techila ra'iti ketz rachava mitzvatecha me'od. which is, I have seen an end to every purpose, but thy commandment is exceeding broad.
Right, so we do need to do this inside the Hebrew, because this is not there is a midrash in the choice of this verse. Usually the verse from afar seems to have nothing to do with the lectionary verse, and its connection only opens. But what's the connection of this verse from Tehillim with the lectionary verse?
Tehillah.
Tehillah. Right? In every chol, in every vayachulu, in every conclusion, in every termination, right? I have seen the end of it. Right? So all chols have a termination. In other words, the finite world is, drumroll, finite. But Rachva mitzvotecha me'od. Your mitzvah, I'll give the game away. Your Torah, and I will now translate this as it is to be understood, not what it literally says, is without end. Yeah? So that we are now getting a parallelism between the finite world, which has Kates, and the infinite world, which is Rachva Ma'od, which is so broad as to have no end at all. Right? We've come across Ma'od meaning things other than very. Yeah, I mean, that's
Who's speaking here? I mean, when you say your Torah, I mean, are we talking about our Torah?
God. Sorry, who's speaking? Tehillim 119 is this vast psalm. Just goes on for pages and pages and pages. It is a triple acrostic, right? So that the first, quadruple acrostic. Six acrostic. 6, 7, 8 acrostic. The first 8 verses all begin with the letter Aleph, followed by 8 verses that begin with the letter Bet, 8 with the letter Gimel, 8 with the letter Daled, and it is.
So why does that Tehillim get to talk about being finite?
Yeah.
It pushes the envelope a little bit.
96, right? You can tell it.
One day they'll do a Mishnah.
That's right. Let's keep going.
Long is still finite.
Right, the Lord exists forever. Your word stands firm in heavens. Your faithfulness is for all generations. You have established the earth and it stands. Were not your teaching my delight, I would have perished in affliction. I will never neglect your precepts, for you have preserved my life through them. I am yours, save me, for I have turned to your precepts. The wicked hope to destroy me, but I ponder your decrees. I have seen that all things have their limit, but your commandment is broad beyond measure. I have to say, beyond measure is a very nice translation of Ma'od in this context. Okay, I've given you Jason the next word here as well.
Lakol yesh sikosim, like plate or disc or something.
No.
No.
Oh,
I'm on the wrong.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry, I'm on the wrong page.
Yeah, we're on it's on the other.
Yep, it's on the other page. Oh, okay, that changes things.
Is this Greek or is it Hebrew?
Greek.
Costume.
Although it does correspond to the Latin, right? So here can you see where I am on this? Right, I'm gonna take a flying guess. I can't read Greek at all, but those Greek characters read sikus, corresponding to the Latin septa, means a pen or enclosure, right? So that's the Latin, that's the Greek. But do you have? Sorry, you have this, yeah. Translated here as a floodgate. Very interesting, right? There is a floodgate that has been made for the tears of the eyes, a holding back of the eyes. I mean, I recognise that kind of idea from Lamentations. I don't know that precise midrash, but you get that thing in Lamentations that the water's pouring out through my eyes. So you know, I know that language. It's very common in Putium. And then this is called the Jastro bonus, right? Limitation, Genesis, Rabba, section 10, ding, 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 beginning. Thank you very much. L'chol yesh sikusim, reference to Psalm 119, verse 96. Everything has its limits, ... And here we have the rest of the midrash that they're just giving away there. But let's see that back in the... Right, l'chol yesh sikusim, everything is finite.
Even Shemayim Ba'aretz.
Shemayim Ba'aretz yesh lahem sikusim.
I thought Ma'od was finite. Didn't you say it?
No, Ma'od is not. Ma'od is the opposite.
Infinite.
Infinite. Yes.
Infinite.
Okay, יש להם סיכוסים. Okay, חוץ מדבר אחד, except for this one thing, שאין לו סיכוסים, ואיזו זו התורה.
Ve'ezel? Or actually, ve'ezel. I don't know. It could be either way, right? Ve'ezel or ve'ezel. But it's certainly at some point, and you're Canadian, you can handle this. Right? Ve'ezel? Ve'ezel?
That's good. I like that. But Torah doesn't have that. That's the exception.
Correct.
Shene'emar, aruka me'eretz midah urchava mini yam. Wow, there's a full stop.
I've given that to you.
Oh.
Sorry, I haven't. Yes, unhelpfully, I have not identified that it is indeed from this verse from Job. So the third thing down on your sheet, there. Yeah. You're looking for verse 9 to get that right.
Oh. Yeah. Aruka me'eretz midah urchava mini yam. So the measure thereof is longer than the earth and broader than the sea. Okay, so it's sort of trying to illustrate the grandeur of
it's a
Torah,
strange.
right?
I mean, first let's get that this actually is Torah, right? So just to go back to verse 6.
It's poetry, wouldn't it? I mean.
Yeah. Right. He would tell you the secrets of wisdom, that sound wisdom is manifold. No, therefore the God is right. So this is, canst thou find out the deep things of God? Canst thou attain to the purpose of the Almighty? This is very, very Job. I mean, this is absolutely Jobian theology. But here to be related to the wisdom, the chokhmah, which here is is in Mishlei. Wisdom in Mishlei means Torah. There is no gap between what is referred to as chokhmah and what is referred to as Torah. Whether or not it is the actual klaf and it's the chumash or the thing or the whatever, but wisdom and Torah are the same thing. So when it says that everything is finite, chutz mi devar echad, Torah, and there's proof text, right? It's not quite. I guess the idiomatic, the midrashic translation of this verse 9 is that the measure of Torah is beyond the finite. It is beyond the heaven and beyond the earth.
But it's not really a good example of, just because it's bigger than the earth or bigger than the sea, it does not make it beyond measure.
No. Sorry, did I say heaven?
Maybe
and
in
earth?
those
It didn't
days,
say
yeah.
earth and sea. It doesn't say earth and. Sorry, it doesn't say earth and sea. Sorry. Yeah, the verse says earth and sea. You're right.
Yeah.
But it's being understood as being bigger than Hashemayim v'haaretz. That's what and you're right to point out.
Unimaginable, basically, isn't it?
No. Sorry, but yeah, what Lester is doing is this is a very good verse to prove that Torah is bigger than the earth and the sea. But what we're after is not earth and sea.
Boundless.
We're after aretz v'shamayim, right? We're a shin short. You know what? Let's try this one. Lester, the book underneath where the tikkun was. Yeah. Oh no, sorry. Sorry, the other one that looks like it, but it's to the right of the chumash, somewhere to your right. Go to your right. Go to your right. Keep going 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 to keep. Just where it says the chumash, the right of the art scroll that's there.
This one?
Yeah. Sorry, you can see how I got confused.
I'll put the other one back where it was.
Thank you. So what I'm just about to do is to look up whether or not anybody has, instead of Arukam Me'eretz Midah Barachva Mine Yam Mine Shamayim. Let me just. I think it's. I don't. I think that's gonna. It's we're not gonna see anything, but let's just check what we got here. Job. Where are we? Sorry, Job 11. Man looks up something in book. No. Right, so what I'm checking in it is the Biblica Hebraica Stuttgartensia, which contains all the examples where the Septuagint or the Vulgate or any of the scraps of stuff which we have found is different from the received Masoretic text, and it gives me nothing to go on this particular example. But you're right, it's flawed. Okay. which way up. They all go different. They all go different ways up. You know.
Well, they're variant readings, are they?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Exactly. All right.
And
Are we in Ghana or are we in Job?
we are in
Job.
like Genesis, if you like, pardon me to use the word Genesis, talking about Enoch, the most immortal, because since the earth or the world was created, or the entire universe was created, no human being has been immortalized. He was the only person who never saw death. And we believe that he was the person who gave us the Torah, because say Asher Anoki, and Anoki throughout as we read the Torah, and we look up.
Yeah. So you
If
know what? It's
Abraham
you know
and
it's
all-
gone. I can't. If you want to offer a class on
No, I want
Ghanaian,
to
on
use
Ghanaian
that
ancient
to
Hebrew, yeah, it doesn't
explain this.
really work because Hanoch is not spelled at all the same way as Anochi. So let's stay with this if that's okay. Arakama eretz midav rachva minei yam. Right. Yeah, Devar.
דבר אחר, לכל תחילה ראיתי קץ. זו מלאכת שמיים וארץ. דבר אחר, is that therefore? Or?
No, Devar Acher is another drosh.
Oh.
Another drosh on that verse.
Oh.
Actually, to be honest, this one feels more midrashically secure. If Devar Acher is my favourite. Right, this is the proof that Judaism does not believe in the monotheization of comment. All right, Devar Acher, we've seen hundreds of them.
Okay, another thing. לכל תחילה ראיתי קץ. At the end, what do we say? Everything at the end.
Everything has an
I
end.
see an end,
Yeah,
right? Zo melechet shamayim va'aretz. That is the. Is that the work?
Malacha. Yeah,
Yeah, the
that
work
is the
of
weekly,
Shema.
right? Literally the weekly work, right?
Okay, the work of shamayim va'aretz, of heaven and earth. Shneimar vayechulu hashamayim va'aretz. Therefore, as it says, vayechulu hashamayim va'aretz, and
The Shemaim and the Aretz were chol, right? They were tachala, right? The chol tachala reiti ketz vayechulu hashamayim va'aretz. The vayechulu hashamayim va'aretz. That is the chol tachala reiti ketz, right? It's the same thing.
right.
That's the So it's not really Devar Acher. It's just the kind of explaining of the midrashic connection. Good.
Good. Yeah.
Good. Thank you. Lester, how you doing? You good to go for this?
Rabbi Chama Patach. It's a petition from Rabbi
Mhm.
Chama. Hago sigim mikesef, etc. From Mishle, and you quoted it here. Hago sigim mikesef, PHA, Etzore Kelly. So there's something to do with metal refining.
Mm-hmm. Hey, you know something about that?
So when you melt the metal, you can scum off the oxides, stuff. And then you can only use the pure metal to make a vessel.
Right.
Looks beautiful that way, whereas if you had it all mixed in with the dross, it's not very pretty. I guess that's what he's saying. Well, let's see.
So yeah, and let's just catch the context of this. I think we've actually even had this very verse before, right? Kavod Adonai Haster Davar. It's the glory of God to conceal a thing. I'm back. Can you see where I am? I'm just reading verses 2 and 3 before our lectionary verse in Mishlei, right? So I just so that we've got that this is about how God brings stuff out into the world. The glory of kings is to search out a matter. The heaven for height and the earth for depth, the heart of the king is unsearchable. So this kind of is about the heavens and the earth and some kind of creation thereof and the relationship between God and other chemical engineers of note.
I'm just trying to see what is this related to. Does that come later?
Yeah, we'll kind of get there. I mean, it will. I guess what I wanted to. I mean, age to show that this is about heaven and earth, right? You've got Shemayim and Aretz here, and also this thing about hiding things and bringing things out, revealing things coming forth. being made apparent, I guess, right?
But this quotation is about removing the dross from something pure.
Yeah, I mean,
we haven't got to that yet.
we haven't quite got there yet, but it's coming. A very unusual mashal.
Amar Rabbi Eliezer b'shem Rabbi Yaakov. Okay, so he's going to give a mashal, Rabbi Eliezer, with the name of Rabbi Yaakov. Mashal de embati, which is clearly Greek, and it means embati.
A bathtub.
A
Bath. Right? I mean, it's actually the I mean, is it Greek? Is it Latin? I don't know. Whatever it is, it's English, right? And ambatia is it feels So there is this bathtub. I mean, this is unusual. Have we seen mashalim that aren't mashal Melech? Have we seen any? Not many.
Not many. No.
Right? I mean, certainly unusual. I mean, we'll see more as we move away from things that are so God-centered, right? Not all of Torah is as God-centered as the first chapter of Genesis, but.
Okay, Shahayata Malaya Mayim. So it was filled with water. Vahayu ba shnei dioskosim.
Okay, I'm going to tell you that the third letter is an error. The third, that vav, should not be there. Now reread that word.
Diskosim, discs.
So why is it there then?
Because the person who was who was copying it out didn't know Greek. I mean, or didn't know English, right? I mean, you're like, because it's discus, right? There are two discuses. What's a discus? A round thing, right? It couldn't be more obvious, since we know the Greek, that vav shouldn't be there. I haven't even looked it up, but I can tell you that there'll be a bunch of other ways of it where the vav isn't there. It's kativ malay, kativ chaseb, but here it's just wrong, right? I mean, the minute that you say that there are two discusim, you know exactly what we're talking about, as indeed you are, quote, meant to understand. Right?
He keeps doing it though.
Yeah, well, once you start writing it, then,
So basically, it's a Greek word.
it's a Greek word, and he's just writing it out. I mean, just copying it out and copying it out. He doesn't know the Greek, but if you know that discus is a discus, or if you're a fan of the Olympic Games, which, let's face it, the rabbis weren't, right? So I mean, they wouldn't know a discus from a dioscus.
Anyhow, Vahayu ba shnei diskosim naim. Okay, so they were beautiful discs, perhaps gold or silver, or I don't know, something
Good,
like that.
that'll do.
Kol zman shehayata malaya mayim, lo hayata melechet diskonim niret. As long as the bath was filled with water, you couldn't see the value of the discs, or you couldn't appreciate the value of the discs.
Right. I mean, not so much the value. You couldn't see how pretty they were.
Yeah.
There are more important things in the world than just financial wealth.
Kevan shepitaka.
Giving you that one as well.
One.
Actually, it was a Jastro bonus, I think, in here.
Oh.
Where are we? Drain a bath.
Drained, yeah.
I mean, you probably could have guessed, right? What's going to happen to this bath full of water anyway? Where is it? It was right here. Here we go. Right, it's not a Jastro bonus. He may draw a quantity of 19 sa of water and let it run through a gutter into the bath, right? Or he cut off its supply by diverting a channel, and there it is. There's the Jastro bonus just referred to there at the end, but we don't really we don't get it.
Okay, so the water drained out. Shepitaka v'ner hamayim shebetocha, and the water drained out. The water was in the bath drained out. Near eight melechet diskosim. So we begin to appreciate the beauty of the discus.
Okay, stop. Let's just sort of pause there for a second. Easy one. What are the two discusim?
Sun and the moon. No.
No.
No, Shaman Varetz.
Yes.
Okay.
Right. And this I think
I was interpreting discus a little bit too.
Yeah. Right.
Too literally.
I think this is to do with I know this this cosmology best from Terry Pratchett, but that it used to be thought that there were these sort of spheres of stuff, and one was on top of the other.
Well, it's the whole
Heavenly
concept of
spheres.
Rakia.
The heavenly spheres and all this kind of stuff, right? And that it's in the first blessing before the Shema that you come. That there were these sort of like things balanced one, balance, or floating one on top of the other. The whole idea,
like the moons of Jupiter, type of thing. Isn't it?
No, like a series of plates
Right.
piled up. And you know what? You can tell I'm moving crockery around, right? Yeah.
I mean, the original Petichta starts us off by saying they're the plates of Shemayim Va'aretz. So we have that kind of in our mind already. L'chol yesh. Oh no. Sorry.
Sikusim is not discusim. Yeah. How much
Sorry.
Greek? How much
Twice
Greek
I
do
did
you need?
that.
How much Greek do you need to know to handle Midrash? Right? Quite a lot.
Yeah, what you're saying they mean then this
In the ancient world,
Yeah.
and I'm not as much of an expert on ancient cosmology as even
I can
less.
tell you,
But yeah.
in the ancient world, they knew that there were different levels of heaven because they knew that the moon could pass in front of a star and obscure it. So they knew the moon was closer than the star. So they had these vision of hemispheres at different heights, which the ones closer could obscure the ones before. And they knew that there could be an eclipse. So they knew that the moon was closer than the sun because the moon could pass in front of the sun and obliterate it. So they had this vision of hemispheres at different heights in which the different heavenly bodies existed.
Right,
And
but
in
I
which
think
Earth
when you
was
put,
central.
but I have to say, when you say hemisphere, you are importing to a more ancient time the curvature of Earth, which I don't think was a given, right? I mean, the curvature of Earth is a later. I mean,
I
I
think it's hard to see how would the moon and the sun rise in a circle and set.
well, they talk about chariots running across the heavens and then going back
No,
on the other
okay.
side out of sight.
Okay.
I mean, they thought that you would go around the bottom of it, and then at night time you would go across the top of it, and then come back again. They didn't think that they went round like that, so that one half of the world was in light and the other half was in darkness. So they believe they were
Levels.
Yeah, they believe that there were these sort of like plates,
Like discs.
like
Well, I mean,
or as you would say in Greek.
we know when like Copernicus,
This is
suggested the
late.
curvature of the Earth.
This
right?
is late. By the way, there's a fabulous article on Copernicus in one of the Quest magazines about what that should do to us religiously, changing what you think the centre of the Earth is and what that means. It's written by Joel Levy. It's
But belief in the heavenly spheres went on to quite late, didn't it?
Yeah, but I think it starts to shift, right? Because they're still talking about heavenly spheres when they know that the Earth is round, right? But at this point, I think they think there's a series of flat plates. One is being held up.
Didn't
upon the other.
Shakespeare? Is he James Shakespeare? Didn't he talk about the heavenly
Yeah,
spheres?
for sure. It's in
translated.
Tempest, but that's much later.
Yeah.
So where are you? Right.
Okay, so now
So hang on. So let's just finish with this mashal. We're not actually going to get it fully broken down. What's the bath water? What's the bath and what's the water?
Okay, well he says, Kach Kolzman Shahia Olam Tohu Vavohu, all of the
So
There's
before the
always
creation
been-
of the heavens and the earth,
The chaos.
or the chaos that was enveloping the heaven and the earth, you couldn't appreciate the beauty of the heaven and the earth.
right? Right. So Bereishit bara Elokim et Shemayim ve'et haaretz v'haaretz et tohu v'yom Hashem vayiyu, should be properly translated as, at the point at which God began to create heavens and earth, the world was previously null and void, right, or chaotic, right? So this is actually, it's quite an interesting mashal. That it's suggesting that it wasn't that God made the heaven and the earth anew. It's that it was just sort of completely enveloped in the chaos of everything. Interesting.
Anyhow, so Shahia
That's not creator ex nihilo, basically, is it?
Right, but then the Torah doesn't get us to creation ex nihilo. The Torah only gets us to the point at which there's already tohu vavohu. Doesn't take us back any further than
And
that.
we've already seen that there was lots of things before
Right.
the creation of the earth. We've
Right.
seen
Right.
that before.
Yes.
So Kozman Shahia Olam Tovo Lo Nir Eit Melechet Shemayim Va'aretz. One couldn't appreciate the beauty or the value of the heaven and the earth like is in the bath, the discs in the bath water. Kevan Shene'ekar Tohu Vavohu Min Ha'olam.
Sorry.
Kevan Shene'ekar Tohu Vavohu Min Ha'olam. When the chaos disappeared from the world. Nereit melechet shemayim ba'aretz. We could see the beauty and appreciate the heaven and the earth. And now he's quoting Vayetze Latzoref Kelly.
The back end of that very, very verse from which we started. I always like Midrashim that do that, right?
There comes forth a vessel for the refiner.
After
you get rid of the dross.
Right. Yeah.
That's good.
Thought you'd like that.
So he says, Nasu Kelim Hadahu Difte Vayikulu Hashemayim Ba'aretz V'Kol Tzva'am.
Right, the coming out of the silver for the refiner is the emergence from the Tohu Vavohu of the primordial discs of heaven and earth.
Is there anything to do with the fact that Kelim has the same root as Vayikulu?
Oh,
That's interesting.
I don't think Kalim does.
I don't think so. But
Sorry, Kalim is
just
Kaf
looking at
Lamed Yud. It's not
it's
a Kli. It's not a Kol.
Side by side.
Well, I think a Kol
Vayikulu
is
is Kuf Lamed Hey, presumably.
no Kuf Vav Lamed.
Kuf Vav Lamed.
Or as Ibn Ezra would say, not Kuf, Kaf Lamed.
Kaf.
I'm not sure. Certainly, if that midrash is ever made, I don't think that's being done.
What do you?
All Hebrew words have 3 letters.
Yeah.
But one of the letters, when they're weak letters, like a vav or a hey or a yud, sometimes disappear when you have the various verb or noun formulations of the word. So, a keli, you say it's kaf yud lamed?
Kli, a Kli, a vessel, is
Kaf
Kaf Lamed Yud, but Chol is Chaf Vav Lamed. So
Okay.
it's a yeah. Do you want to keep going?
Okay. Ketzad barach HaKadosh Baruch Hu et olamo. How did God create his world?
I have to say, I spent rather too long on this. I don't feel I fully understand it. It might just be that science has moved on to a point when I can't get my head back round.
You can't unimagine it.
But they might have
Well, I don't know they're doing. So if this doesn't make a lot of sense to you, I'm going to be unable to necessarily help.
Okay. Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan said, Natal HaKadosh Baruch Hu shtei pakiyot.
So I know what a pakia is.
2 pakiyot, which are what?
Right there. So if you just look down in the commentary here, slisim kaduriim. Right there, balls. A kadur, as in kadurega, a football. Sorry, I'm sorry. I just ran out of time. I didn't get to pull this out properly for you. We are flying solo at this point. So 2 balls. God created the world with 2 balls.
Okay, so we took 2 balls. Shtei pakiyot. Achat shel esh v'achat shel sheleg. Okay, one was made of fire and one was made of snow. Upetachan zo vazo. And he, what did we say?
Oh.
He just divided them or
Well, patach means it's combined or sort of
combined the 2 together.
Right, arvam or mugad. Oh, here we go. Nice Pesach word. Or mazgam. Yeah, he ereved them. Erev mixed them in. Or mazgu. I mean, we have this all through the Mishnah in Pesachim. Mazgu lo kos rishon. Mixed for him the first cup. Mixed for him the second cup. Akana ben shuel avid. And then the child asks the father, "Manishta," the parent, "Manishtana halayla hazeh." Right, mix these 2.
Together.
So from mixing together the cold and the hot, nivra ha'olam. The world.
Umehen nivra ha'olam. Okay.
There's something about. I mean, I think when you think fire and snow, don't think water. That there's something about the coming together of the hendiades of cold and hot.
I think in the ancient world, these were the extremes.
Right.
Nothing could be hotter than fire, and nothing could be colder than snow.
Right, and that therefore all creation, all creation exists between the extreme of heat and the extreme of cold. Right, it's something to do with the 4 kinds of primordial elements. By the way, we're about to meet 4 balls. Right, they're coming, which are ether, gas, liquid, solid, right? I mean, it's like, I mean, this is, in order for me to truly understand this kind of stuff, I'd need to know more about that kind of science, which I'm afraid I don't. So we've started off with two balls. I mean, the advantage of there being two balls is that you then have the Shnei Dikusim, right? Diskusim. You have Shemayim Va'aretz. So you have, but I don't necessarily think that kind of works exactly. But moving on.
Okay, Rabbi Chanina Amar, Arba. The Arba Ruchot HaShamayim. So there were 4 things that he had.
Right.
Why do we have Arba twice?
Corresponding to the 4.
Right, no. How many balls did God have? Arba. How come he had Arba balls? Because he had Arba because of the Arba Ruchot HaShamayim. So we're not getting a hendiades, which is heaven and earth. We are getting I don't even know how to do this in the Greek, a 4-way edge, right? I mean, so unless that's exactly right. Fire is the hottest that it gets, and snow is the coldest that it gets. We're now about to get that God started with 4 things, which are the edges. Which are those 4 things? The 4 ruchot hashamayim, the 4 compass points, right? I mean, they're the 4 directions of the earth.
And again, since the earth is flat, that's perfectly logical.
Right, because there is no further way to go than east, right? Yeah, it's not like somebody was just suggesting they thought our synagogue was built pointing the opposite way because you reach Jerusalem eventually, right? It's this.
So what happens at the end of the earth? I mean, is there a wall? You fall off?
It's a great question. I mean, I am aware of those kinds of. I mean, again, my problem is Terry Pratchett, right? I mean, I keep bumping into Terry Pratchett.
They told Columbus he would fall off.
I mean, they did. I mean, people definitely did feel that you got to the end and it would fall off. But you do get, but certainly, I mean, I'm thinking of that really well excavated Midrash that's used in all kinds of ecological sensibilities, that God took Adam all the way north, all the way south, all the way east, and all the way west to see the totality of the world. Before sort of settling him back down into the Garden of Eden. So there was a sense that you got to the edge. I mean, listen, you can tell what my frame of reference is for all this ancient science. But the Truman Show is also really interesting in this, right? Have you not seen the Truman Show?
Yeah.
Very, 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 very sophisticated movie, which has, among other things, a whole thing about what happens if you go beyond the edge of what your trum is, and it's actually that's the movie. So these things do still exist. Can get good play.
Okay, Rabbi Chama Bar Chanina was not happy with that. He said, Amar Sheish. There were 6.
Can you do them?
Arba le Arba Ruchot.
What are the arba? What are the shesh? Right. So yeah.
The Achat Min Malan, the Achat Min Matan.
That reminds you of anything?
Sukkot.
Right. How do you shake your lulav? The 4 ruchot and the mala and the mata. Interesting. I'm just looking. Here we go. Right. It's in Yom. So this is in Yom. I'm just looking for a reference to this being discussed in Sukkah. No, but
what do we? I can understand the. Oh, I see. So he's expanding the 4 to 6 to cover the entire.
Listen, if this is the game, the first thing that God did was the edges. I mean, as I say to my child when he wants to do drawing, first draw the outline and then fill it in the middle, right? Which is basically what's going on here.
Jigsaw puzzle.
Yeah, it's like a jigsaw puzzle. The question is, if God was doing that, did he start off with 2 edges or 4 edges or 6 edges?
6 edges would define your 3D space. Whatever. Anyway.
Well, I mean, right. The maximum x, the maximum y, and the maximum z corollaries, right? Coordinates.
Okay.
Okay, Adrianos.
Caesar Adrianos, right? Just there in the commentary. I'm sorry, again, I didn't have time just to pull all this stuff up, right? The Caesar of Rome, or the Roman Emperor. How do we feel about him?
Shechik Atzamot She'ela, the Rabbi Yoshua Bachani.
Right, so blot out his bones or crush his bones. Yumach Shemam is the way that we sometimes do Amalek or other baddies. So Adrianos.
He didn't actually break his bones.
Oh, but we wish that he did, right?
Push it over the side properly.
No. This is that rabbinic. So I mean, what you would say of of a great rabbi, Shlita Melele long and prosper. You say of a great person who's passed away, Zechon Tzadik Levracha. I've seen sometimes you see in the front of these particularly more kind of Hasidic worlds expanded versions of that. Zechat Tzadik v'Gaon Tzadik Hador Levracha. But here we have the opposite of that, Adrianos Shechik Atzamod.
Sha'alei Rabbi Yehoshua bar Chanina, Amar le. So he asked of Rabbi Yehoshua ben Chanina, Ketzad bara HaKadosh Baruch Hu et olamo? That seems an innocent enough question. Amar le.
And just lovely. I mean, there are a number of these. Like these Caesars up in Rome going, I don't understand this. I know. Let's ask a rabbi. So,
Kehahud Amar Rabbi Chama bar Chanina. It's like what Rabbi Chama ben Chanina said.
Yep. And how many balls did Rabbi, or how many things did Rabbi Chama bar
He just
Chanina?
had the two, didn't he?
Amar Rabbi Chama bar Chanina Amar Shesh.
Oh, sheesh. Okay. Amale, Efshar Kain et Maha. Could that be the case?
Right.
Hishniso Levias Katan. Took him into a small house.
Let's go for room, but yep.
Okay. Amale, Pshot Yavachal Mizrach Marab Tzafon of the room. Extend your hand north, south, east, and west.
You know what? It's got to mean north, south, east, west. Touch the ceiling, touch the floor.
But it doesn't say
it doesn't say that. I mean, it just has to be that, right?
Amale Kach Hayamase Lifnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
That's how difficult it was for God, right? So the question that Adrianos asks is, sorry, the Etmahah question, right? How did God create the world? He created 6 directions or 6 end points. It's like, what? And God can handle everything from the furthest to the east to the furthest of the west, and from the furthest of the north to the furthest of the south, and from the furthest of the above to the furthest of below. Yeah, let me explain it to you. Here, you stand in this small room that you can touch all the walls, the ceiling, and the floor. Difficult for you? No, easy for me. It's only, and I mean, it's kind of nice. It's kind of playing on the smallness both of breadth of mind, but also of the physicality of a Roman emperor, because we'll access emperor stories. We'll do Mashal Melech whenever it suits us, but whenever we want to give the physical emperor a bit of a kicking, we figuratively reduce him down to size.
Well, you're saying you're an emperor, but you can only do this in a small room.
Yeah, exactly. It really, but
God can do
God's
it in a big room.
reach.
I mean, this is basically all. This Midrash is basically dealing with the greatness of God, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the subject.
Yeah, and with a sidebar of give a kick to the Roman emperor, and that's slightly. I mean, I think you can overplay it, but I think it's hugely important. You are continually trying to help your poor, downbeaten Jew feel better, and in some ways, this Midrash helps you do that.
But of course, there's no reason to think that the Roman emperor actually asked this question.
No, not at all. This is a literal. This is a literary text. This is not necessarily a report of a journalistic conversation. You can imagine, right, in the press briefing, right? President, I got a question.
I mean, would it have been censored? Would the Roman authorities know about these comments?
The censoring that we are aware of in rabbinic literature is much later. It's anti-Christian. It's censoring things that could be perceived as being anti-Christian.
But the Roman emperors wouldn't have known about.
I mean, the classic problems were these monks who converted to Christianity from Judaism. Actually, I'm going to do on first day Pesach, B'Shatova. I'm going to do a whole thing about censoring and Haggadahs, which I think is going to be quite good fun. But this isn't that. I think the Romans didn't care about rabbinic literature. I mean, it could not be clearer that the Romans didn't care about rabbinic literature, because rabbinic literature gives them a kicking at every possible opportunity.
Yeah.
It's clear that the Christians did care about rabbinic literature, partly because they're trying to do the same thing, right? The church fathers, Origen and Julian, people like that, are reading Isaiah to prove the coming of Jesus in a Christian understanding of what that sentence means. And the Jews, if they read a biblical verse to prove that Jesus was in fact an X, Y, or a Z, the Christians are upset by that, and that is both self-censored and actively censored. Which isn't to say that there isn't anti-Christian polemic that kind of seeps through. And not to say that the Christians didn't mind the Jews disliking Christianity, because it shows that the Jews had made a terrible mistake, right? I mean, the Christians are quite happy for the Jews to be quite wrong.
But it was crouched in kind of hidden language that when the Jews referred to Christ and things in the Talmudic writings, they referred in other ways, didn't they, rather than directly?
Well, there's a whole story about that. The book on that is by Peter Schoeffer, which actually I really, really liked and really enjoyed, and then got a complete kicking in a review from someone who actually knows their material much better than I do. But I used to possess it. It's a good book, Peter Schoeffer's book. He looks at, there are about 8 or 9 times in rabbinic literature where there are stories about someone who is probably Jesus. He thinks they're all about Jesus, and this other guy says he's completely overread them all. But
Is this Mishnaic or?
All Talmudic. All Talmudic.
So that's a long time later.
Long time later, right? None of which tell us anything about the historical personage.
No.
But then, to be honest, the Gospels are
later as well.
Quite a chunk later as well. But they might be appearing in the Amoraic writings, but these are stories which have been only whispered about for a while, right? Because I think that for the vast majority of Jews, Jesus was a complete irrelevance right up until Justinian converted, at which point...
Well, until they began to be persecuted, I suppose,
by Christians. Because, at the point of Jesus' life, and for a long period after them, you get the feeling there are Bethusians who are doing this thing, there are Essenes who are doing this thing, there are people living down in Koran who are doing this thing, there's a bunch of Christians who are doing this thing. And, there's a whole kind of, open...
When the Talmud was written, the Babylonian Talmud, wasn't Babylon under the authority of the
Holy Roman Empire?
The
Holy Roman Empire is
not
three...
not the ancient.
No.
Babylon
was Persian, but yeah, it is. Sorry, but the conversion of the Holy Roman Empire to become holy is 334. I think I want to say something like that. So it's smack in the middle of the Amoraic period. Very much in the period when the Talmud is starting to be edited, and all those kinds of really important decisions, and how it might be that there were stories that everybody knew were about Jesus, but as they get edited to go into the Talmud, they get slightly just fuzzied up a little, so it's not quite so clear that you're talking about. One of the things that the rabbis do is say that if Mary was Mukudeshet to Joseph, was betrothed to Joseph, and had a child by someone other than Joseph, then the definition of somebody born to somebody who is Mukudeshet to somebody else is a mamzer. So you'll get that kind of getting bits of play, around these kinds of edges. That's just being nasty. But yeah. Where are we? Great. Thank you. Jason.
Amar Rav Hoshia Darash Rabbi Efes be'Antochia Ein Lashon Vayachulu Ela Lashon Makah Lashon Kalaya. So Rabbi Hoshaya said...
I heard a
drash.
Good.
By Rabbi Efes be'Antochia, I guess for Rabbi.
What a weird name.
Antioch, is it?
Yeah, he's in Antioch. Yeah. I mean, which was a perfectly sort of Jewish centre, right? But what a weird name, Rabbi Efes.
Nothing.
Well,
Zero.
it's clearly a Greek name.
Zero Mostel.
I don't know what the Greek is, but I mean, he's not a famous person. But of course, Ephesus is known, is a major city in Turkey.
Asia Minor, yeah.
Right. So
So it could be Greek rather than Hebrew.
Yeah.
well, it's clearly that. But I mean,
Not Rabbi Zero.
interesting.
So is Ein Lashon is that don't use the language of Vayachulu?
Well, the
or
word
it's
Vayachulu
not
is not to be understood as anything other than
Makkah and
Makala. It should really be. I mean, and again, I'm sorry, I didn't get an opportunity to do this. Makala. I'm sure as I can be that the lashon is.
because Makkah is
Well, sorry.
very different.
Well, the
Plague?
commentary calls it Makkah as well.
Right. Well, it's lashon maka ul shon klaya. Right. So kol. Right. So so klaya means to hit, destroy. Right. To bring to, and so it's not. Well, maka is to whack. Right. There is some violence involved, and that I think is the kind of key. Right. That God sets the world off and then has to exert sort of a bit of welly in order to stop the world from sort of going too far. And that's kind of
restraint, maybe?
Right. And I have to say, I haven't even prepared as far into this as I would like to, but I just hear Job in all of this. No, it's not cited anywhere here. There it is, well, beginning of the next Midrash, which is way over the page. But the when you read Job, you get a sense that God's creation of the world involved God having to toughen this one out, right? You know, God stopped up the water, bounded in this, killed the Leviathan, penned in this one. Can you, says God to Job, can you catch Leviathan? Like I caught Leviathan as if it was a mere crocodile, put a hook through its nose. All that kind of God's toughness in limiting the destructive power of the world.
Hold on a second, just doing my notes, which went on to the next page. Okay. Mashal Melech.
Phew. Back to our normal.
Back to our Melech. Okay. Shenichnas b'midina v'kilsu oto v'nei hamidina v'arev lo kilusan. Where do I stop? Hirba lahen beditza.
One more little phrase.
Hirba lahen behad yochin.
Pause there.
So there was a mashal of a king who came into the land.
Mm-hmm.
What's kilsuoto?
Kales. It's liturgical.
Yes.
Klisa. It's praise. It's this thing you do with your finger.
Okay.
Praised. Right. So the king turns up, and Bnei HaMedina klisu oto.
And they
hailed him. Right? They praised him.
Okay, I see. So I'm doing my notes at the same time. Hirba lahen beditza hirba lahen.
Sorry, it pleased him, right? But arev lo klasan, the klusan, right? Their kales pleased him, so he's very, very happy. So what does he do? He makes for them lots of ditza and lots of had yochin, races and chariots. Right? This is, races and chariots put on a kind of a good show. Right? I mean, it's steeped in that kind of Roman
Breadless circuses.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or here, circuses and sexes.
Okay. לאחר זמן הכעיסו אותו ומייעץ להן בדיצה ומייעץ להן בהדיוחין. Okay, so זמן.
Achar zman, after time,
right? הכעיסו אותו. He Kaas. Oh my goodness, I'm like blanking today.
They
made him
angered him.
cross, didn't they?
Right?
Okay.
They made him cross. Right? Hifil, third person
Mhm.
plural. They made
Him.
angry. Otto, him. They made him angry.
And he took away the races and
Right.
took away the chariots.
Good. So let's go. So let's
Kach.
let's nimshal it, right?
כך, עד שלא חטא אדם הראשון, היו המזלות מהלכין דרך קצרה ובמהירות משחטא. Oh, that.
Pause
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
right?
Um,
Ad shelo or lifnei shechata.
okay, so before
Adam Rishon.
Adam Rishon appeared, is it?
No, chata.
Chata.
Chatayim.
Sin.
Oh, sinned.
Ah, it's all liturgical.
Yeah,
This is-
I
Yeah, the brain's not there.
It's not firing on all
Right,
cylinders.
right.
Adam Rishon, Hayu Hamazalot Tamacha. There were
The
The
star
signs.
signs, right? The
The-
star signs went derech katsara over mahirut. They went. The star signs went quickly, went straight, and quickly.
okay.
Must mean life was good for him.
Well, here we go. Here's the fruit. Sorry, here's the fruit. Here's the commentary. Can you see over mahirut? Can you see where I am?
Mhm.
There, right? So the star signs are going quickly. Vahayu yamim v'shanim holchim, and the days and the years would speed by. Vahapeirot v'chol smichat v'ptuchot ha'nivraim asher al haaretz na'asim b'mehirut, and the fruits and everything that grew and developed was created on the earth went quickly. In other words, harvest came out fantastically. That you had a tree, you took the apple off the tree on the one day, and you went back the next day and you took the apple off the tree again, and the next day and the next day. 365 days of, well, each year was like this. The everything was just vum 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 vum. Actually, back to your bread and circus thing. The mashal is God gave them circuses and circuses. The nimshal is bread and bread.
Yeah, oh, bread and bread.
Let's just do this last little bit and then we'll stop here.
מי שחטא סיבבן דרך ארוכה ובמתינות יש מזל.
I'll do. And once he sinned, God slowed them down and made them go in a much longer and diminished. Right? They weren't as bright. Which also, I think, has something to do with looking up at the stars. Like, I wonder if that little pinprick of light was brighter. Maybe everything was just much better. I mean, we live in a global warming world, but here, the hotter it was, the faster things grew. All right. Okay.
Really, in the ancient world, the stars appeared to. I mean, it was very much a divine ideas, weren't they?